Welcome to the Gender of Money Morning, and my name is Sue Diamond, and I'm the host, and our goal is to help women create a better relationship with your money so you can live your best life. So thanks for joining us and investing in your financial well-being. So the Gender of Money Morning is brought to you by the Empower Her community. And the Empower Her community focuses on helping women expand their money mindset and confidence around finances. So I encourage you to join the private Facebook group if you haven't already. You can see the link streaming across the bottom. And Charlotte, who's helping me on the back end, she's on Facebook and she'll throw the link in there and we'll be sharing other information. And so let us know if there's a problem as well in the comments, if you can't see me or you can't hear me, and Charlotte's going to help us. Okay, so just back to the Empower Her community. Money finances can be so overwhelming sometimes, and the key to it is taking small steps. And our money definitely, is a piece of our life that does need tender loving care. And when we have supports to help us with that, then it does make it a little easier. So that's what the community is all about. Now, the community is sponsored by the Power Forward Group, which is a full service financial advisory, estate planning team. And we're fully equipped to help you wherever you are on your financial journey. But wherever you are, you have to understand your relationship with money to be in control of your money. And we also need to know, how does our money mindset, which is our behaviors and our beliefs, how does that impact our results with money? So we have, Charlotte will be putting in the chat our money mindset assessment link. So if you can answer 2 questions for us in regards to your money relationship, we will send you the assessment. And I just want to go here. I want to just give a quick shout out and say hi to Patricia. Thanks for joining us this morning. And I think Patricia's out of Orange County. So you might know our guest this morning, Melanie Richards. And oh yes, Michaela Scanlon is also here. So hi, Michaela. She works on the Power Forward team. We work together. So I know this is early in the morning for you because she works all the hours under the sun and stays up very late. And there's Charlotte. Okay. Hey, Charlotte. Welcome to the stream. Okay. So the money mindset, the link will be put in there so you can fill that out and do the assessment and have a better understanding of your relationship with money. Okay, so moving right along here. So the show is gender focused for women, and people ask me the question all the time, well, doesn't everybody really need kind of help with finances and financial literacy? Why is your focus gender focused? And I'd say yes, everybody needs support with financial literacy because it's not something that we do in school, right? Money management. But women have some additional hurdles that they have to overcome, such as the pay gap accumulation over our lifetime. We have more debt, and that's due to more women are graduating from college. So, of course, they have student loans. Parenting, we're in and out of the workforce parenting. So we may or may not be putting money away for our retirement. Elder caregiving, I work with a lot of people who are impacted by how we say the sandwich effect. So they're dealing with aging parents because we know that the 20th century's added 30 years to retirement. And of course, with age comes disability and chronic disease. And I'm seeing clients now who are having to help support their parents because the planning for retirement was planning for 15 years and not 30. And then, of course, as women, we have a longer end game because statistics show that we outlive our male counterparts anywhere from 3 to 5 years is the medium. So what that means is, we've got higher lifetime health and healthcare costs, which all compound over time. Now, on top of that, Black women and Hispanic women don't necessarily earn at the same parity as white women. White women are, I think it's 80 cents to the male dollar. And just looking back at statistics for 2019, in terms of the revenue gap between Black women-owned businesses and the average woman-owned business was much wider. And those statistics are according to Ellevest. So I wanted to take this opportunity over the next couple of weeks. We're doing a 4-part series, and this is our second conversation to highlight Black women business owners and women entrepreneurs and professional Black women on how systemic racism stands in their way and earning parity, and highlight, what it means to be a Black woman while establishing wealth. So I'm going to introduce our guest, but before I do, I just want to highlight that the Empower Her community is about building something that we do together. It's about us being able to share our perspectives, create a brave space, and foster relationships. And a part of that is highlighting that Black wealth matters and that we're in this together. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen here with Melanie, and I just have to switch banners here. So sorry, there we go. And anyway, so Melanie Richards is the founder of Increase Your Visibility. She's a marketing coach and she's a very eloquent speaker. So for 20 years, she worked in corporate, and I took this right from one of your bios, Melanie, in 2005, you'd said, at my last day as a part-time entrepreneur and full-time employee. Then you headed to Tahiti with a smile, with the understanding of struggles to make the transition from a dreamer or hobby to generate and increase revenue being real. And then in 2013, you found your heart and became the gift, engagement, and events lady in Crocs or Rockports who loves to help people learn to earn dollars across the globe. And as a marketing coach, you specialize in business attraction and unique gifts and incentives and live and virtual events and consultations. You love working with authors and coaches and entrepreneurs and nonprofits. And you help them craft and fine-tune the subtle strategic solutions that help them engage with their clients. So I just wanted to add, so we met in 2013, and I had met you at an event, and I was so impressed and in awe of just having a conversation with you and all the people. And the whole conversation was about you saying, well, how can I help you, the whole time? Which, for me, just starting out in business then was just amazing because I had so limited resources. So I had followed up and said, I've got to sit down and talk to Melanie more. So we had met, we were both attending an event at the Museum Village outside of Warwick. And we met in the garden there, and I'll never forget. And then we were like harassed by all these chickens the whole time we were there, and we kept moving, and the chickens kept following us. But it didn't seem to faze you, and I'm like, oh my god. You're one of the people I really admire, and I think you do some wonderful stuff, and your business, just in terms of you're great. So bearing all that in mind, I'm gonna go straight into my first question for you and just ask you about as you see everything that's going on, the last several weeks, we had COVID, and then we had unrest and marches and protests. And from your perspective, what has been the most encouraging aspect to all of this that's happening right now? And what may be some signs and signals that, in fact, it might be contributing to eradicating systemic racism? And do you think we're making some progress?
I think it's hard to tell. And that's the direct, straight answer. I think that, it's been sustained protest over a period of time. Some people are paying an incredible amount of attention. At the same time, on social media, you have people who want their television stations to go back to showing the TV shows that they'd like. You have people who would like their social media feeds to have a little less of people's self expression, a little less about human rights. We're basically sharing a planet together, and our interests are diverse, our families are diverse, our lives are diverse. And, underneath this, in some cases, the hope would be that some sort of unity comes. I'm about to approach my sixth decade. Until I see that the world that my godchildren, my niece, my nephews will live in, will be a safer world, a brighter world with hope. I'll admit it, I'm on the fence. I'm encouraged occasionally by invitations like yours to have a conversation. And I appreciate you reaching out to me. At the same time, underneath this is all about whether we believe in equity, in all about whether we believe that other humans are entitled to the same rights. And the the part I think we need to really work on is that there's some words and some languages that are coming up that people maybe haven't heard before. When you hear something new, do you look it up on Google? Are you going to social media with it? Are you sharing it? Are you finding somebody you trust to ask a question of? But underneath this entire everything will continue to make people in our world extremely uncomfortable. It's
Right.
emotional. The language and the words that people are using to describe this, whether it's in my world, the people are protesters. I know people who call them rioters, they call them looters, they call them thugs. I have acquaintances and friends on social media who referred to the protests as if they were a party, as if it wasn't inspired by a family's really public, view of watching the life of their loved one uh, be eradicated violently. And from my perspective, this wasn't the first one. And I learned underneath this that we need to continue to have conversations like these because friends said to me, this came out of the blue. I said, no, it didn't. They said, this came from nowhere. I said, no, it didn't. This came from things that have been happening for decades that we've never talked about. And this impetus under George Floyd started with Ahmaud in February. It started with Breonna Taylor. It started with the fact that in the beginning, to the young people who are out protesting, and there's generations of people out in the streets, there's people who never protested before. And to me, the frame is, I always think of my nephews and my niece, athletic. Hey, Britt, they would go jogging in the morning. You know, um, Somebody out being active lost his life because he was jogging. A dad who survived COVID lost his life publicly. And I think, as much as people are encouraged by the conversations, by the protest, until the system changes, and I'm not saying change a system from centuries ago or to change things that didn't happen in our lifetime. I'm saying we need to think as if. We really need to think as if this is somebody happening to somebody you care about, and to really use it to to reach out to people and to find out what they care about. If it's not directly affecting you, ask somebody you know who it is affecting.
Right. I know, well, you know Shirley, and I was talking to Shirley last week, and one of my questions to her was, it, I, I haven't experienced what she's experienced because of my white privilege. I haven't experienced some of the things that she had talked about in terms of, we talk about gender, but that's not the same. It's totally different in terms of what you may have experienced, what Shirley experienced. So I think, from my perspective, it's, not always knowing the right thing to say, but, if you don't ask and bring it up and have the conversation, then you won't know. And my commitment was to do, a series of 4 interviews, but that will be continuing to have the discussion as well. So, this doesn't go away because it's so important. And I know my daughter has been avidly participating in the protests in Kingston, which have been wonderful because, there's been some wonderful speakers and there's been some great camaraderie that's come out of it. So
for some it inspires unity. It inspires connection. It inspires a desire to make their community or their world a better place to live. I appreciate some of the stuff you said in the intro to me. It's about what can we do to make this a better place to live? And it's not a better place to live for all. From my perspective, the core of it, and I was having a long discussion about this last night, is whether the word microaggression applies to you, your family, and your life. From my perspective, it applies 3 ways. And we can think of it in terms of gender, if that's more applicable for some of the ladies in your audience. You can think of it's Pride Weekend. You can think of it in terms of sexual orientation. You can think of it in terms of race. The thing is, when we're making time and space for these discussions, we need to make the space to understand each other or to really listen to the answers that don't make sense. Don't try and solve it all in one day. Right. Don't try and have the entire conversation in one day. Acknowledge that at times we're all going to be uncomfortable, and really get to the point where we're able to feel in a conversation that we're working towards understanding, even if we don't get to progress on the blinds or the first date, but really asking somebody because you care and accepting their answer if you care, and having the patience to ask a question later to show somebody you did hear them. Maybe the timing wasn't right. Maybe you needed to do some more research. And I'm not the one to send people to books because they're not books I've written. If you really want to know how I feel, reach out. And I've been encouraging people to do that directly in my group and in conversations, because some people reached out because social media told them to reach out. The thing I'd love to encourage people to really be a little bit more cautious with is when you're sharing a picture that of somebody that doesn't look like you and your family, when you're sharing a meme of something that you didn't write, that a friend didn't write, that somebody you know didn't write, to really sit with that and think about, why am I sharing this? Am I sharing it because I think this is really funny? Am I sharing this because I think this is really important? Am I sharing this because this is what I believe? Because some of the conversations I'm having are with people who are sharing posts on social media, and people are letting them know this isn't such a warm and fuzzy place. So those, I think, would be some of the things. I think also it's about self-expression. If you have the right, I'd like the right. If your children have the right, I want my nephews, my niece, my godchildren to have that same right. And I think when something happens, if it doesn't make sense to you, picture if it happened to somebody in your immediate family. Would you be silent about it? Would it be okay? And that when some people are protesting peacefully because they can't stay silent, because they don't know what to do with the energy, with the anger, they're making signs. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of people protested for weeks. It wasn't a party. It's about human rights. And hopefully, as people, we can come to a point where we acknowledge that everybody in the perfect world should be entitled to those same rights. It's whether the future will offer those same rights. So I encourage people to reach out to Dion McFadder. It's on my page. She has a great article about the future of, the hashtag the future of, as a reset. I'd encourage people to look up Tabitha Barron, who Tabitha has a site. She's an amazing woman, and she has a site called Keeping Your Kids Safe. And the third thing I'd like to leave you with is, so Tabitha's page is Keeping Your Kids Safe. But the third thing I'd like to leave you with is, in your posts, as you're referring to POC or BIPOC, when I first saw POC in Hudson Valley Women of Business, I asked what it meant. I'd never seen it before. A good friend had to say, they're referring to people of color. I saw it the second time recently in people's posts where they're referring to BIPOC, Black, Indigenous People of Color. And I want to encourage you. My name is Melanie. Please don't call me a POC. Please don't call me a BIPOC. My name's Melanie. My friends call me Mel. And I think as we're looking at labels, that whether you're looking at them in life, what's affecting us in life is affecting us in business. It's affecting our economy. It's affecting our world. Dion McFadder's LinkedIn article has a great correlation about how this affects healthcare, economy, and the world. It's the really big picture. It's a very long read, but it's really well worth it. So thanks for letting me share those, Susan.
Oh, no, thank you, Melanie. But I'm just thinking, as we think about also from the perspective of a Black businesswoman, and we know that, as I'd mentioned earlier, kind of the gender pay gap is alive and well. And the statistics show that white women, it's 80 cents to every dollar that a man makes for doing the equivalent work. But lesser known is that for Black women and Hispanic women, there's a larger pay gap, which is 61 cents earned by the dollar. So as a woman in business, how did you determine your worth? Because I know when I talk to women just in general, they have a tendency to undervalue themselves when they're starting out in business.
When starting out in business, at the time that I started, it was basically you followed what was in, the SBA magazines and Entrepreneur, and you read Fortune. And way back when, FedEx used to have a newsletter for entrepreneurs, and I read those while I was an employee. But originally when I started out in promotional products, the wealth relationship or the ability to earn profit for an individual was basically industry determined. And what I found was, as the newer kid on the block, that people were willing to pay another entrepreneur who had a local office and another entrepreneur who was on the board of directors. They were willing to pay them more money. I found out when I put in a bid for something with the chamber, and somebody asked me, they said, your quote is $1 less than the same item, than the same gift that we were about to buy from you. She says, I need you to know that there was a little bit of a price difference. She says, our budget's sensitive. We're going with your quote. but I'd want you to know that somebody else gave a higher quote for the same gift. That person had a storefront, that person had employees, that person had a higher overhead. I think the pricing and the ability to earn in the beginning, I had no idea how to finance my business. I was grateful in the beginning to have a really cool credit rating. And I think that's one of the things I noticed in one of the graphics that you had, way back when somebody came out of a car dealership and they said, "Oh, your credit rating is X. Oh, it's excellent. I've never seen one so high. Whatever you're doing, keep doing." As a business owner, it's not always possible. You're looking for financing, you're looking for expansion. If you wait too long, you run past the point where you should hire an employee. That can really stifle your growth and lead, your business in another direction. As a I believe that the opportunities to build relationships with lenders in some cases are limited because people don't think of who they offer opportunities to. You go sometimes to a networking event if you're not in the clique, if you're not the speaker that they're considering of, and Shirley mentioned that last week, that people need to bring you more opportunities if they're interested in offering them to you, or if they're interested in you having an active seat around the table. When I first started out, there were no mentors locally. I didn't realize that. And who somebody called Shirley. I have to thank her for that and introduced me to Shirley. There was nobody else who looked like me, who could explain how to navigate, who could discuss some of the pitfalls, some of the things to look out for. We didn't have the WEDC yet. We didn't have the Own It Entrepreneurial Women's Conference. We didn't have some of the resources, the WLA that we have now. And and I think as you're building the business, the need to continue financing. If you don't have a relationship with a personal banker, if you don't have a relationship with a wealth manager, hopefully find somebody who specializes in helping you and who makes you feel comfortable and that you can trust.
And I think, as you said, you'd mentioned a couple of the organizations that are out there now. There's a lot more resources today just to help field and navigate some of what you just mentioned. I know WEDC, Cynthia Kroll Marsh, she puts on a lot of different programs. I think they're a good resource. But yes, yeah, sometimes it's important to talk to somebody who you feel looks like you and is going, how are they dealing with it? And so yeah, so Shirley definitely is the lady. So I can't believe how quickly time goes, and we're at 8 o'clock already. So I just wanted to finish out, Melanie, with just asking you, what's the one thing you wish you'd learned about money?
I was a finance major and an accounting minor, and I didn't pay enough attention to it in college. And I didn't realize how critical the changing and improving your mindset would be to your success and being able to finance your dreams or achieve for your dreams. I'm a long way away from the full-time employee who went to Tahiti in 2005. But being able to reach higher, I learned it, fortunately, at a point. I think the thing is we need to treasure ourselves. We need to treasure the lives we build, the relationships we build, the families we build, and to kind of all interconnect it, that money's part of the fuel that finances that. It's not always easy, and it's not always going to be easy, and people aren't going to open doors that you need open. You're not going to be able to find a mentor as quickly. I was really lucky to find great mentors and great coaches, but reach out to people who care, and remember to show gratitude to them later, because everybody doesn't do it. Everybody doesn't care. Everybody doesn't do what Susan did this morning. So thank you for your series.
Oh,
We don't always have people who are interested in the sounds of our voice. They don't always care what we have to say. And some people just want things to go back to what they felt was their old normal. We're in a different world. It's fragile.
Yeah.
Take some care.
Yeah. So, well, thank you, Melanie, for again having, this necessary conversation with our community so we can, have a better understanding how we can support our Black friends and colleagues. So thank you so much. And Cynthia James says, well said, Mel. So that kind of concludes our chat for today, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind everyone that the Gender of Money Mornings is sponsored by the Power Forward Group and brought to you by the Empower Her community. The Power Forward Group is a full-service financial advisory and estate planning team, and you don't have to know all the answers about your money. But an important question to ask yourself is, what do you want from your money? What are your financial goals? Wherever you are on your journey, we at the Power Forward Group are here to help you reach those goals faster. And it all starts with your money mindset. It really, you have to understand your relationship with money. So again, we have the link for the money mindset assessment. And if you want to reach out, we do offer a free financial wellness consultation to all of our attendees. It's a discovery session with our team, so you can discuss your goals, see where you stand, and get the help if needed with the next steps. So again, thank you everybody for joining us this morning. We appreciate and value you taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. So thank you very much. And we won't be here next week because it's a holiday, but we will be, I can't remember the date, July 10th. Will be here, and Misha Rodriguez will be joining us on July 10th. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Right.
So I'm just gonna...
Thank you, Susan.